Okay, guys, good morning. So, the Bible reading today was going to be again on a part of the Bible where it's about the apostles heal many, because a lot of people don't realize that Jesus said to his apostles, all these things I do, you will do and more. And that his apostles started to do that, which is all in support of the theory that Jesus was a human who figured something out and was teaching it in a new way. But we'll get to that later. So, his apostles heard that and started to heal. And I've always found it interesting that the church doesn't talk about this more. So this chapter talks about, Acts 5:12. The apostles performed many miracles, signs and wonders. More and more men and women believed and were added to their number. People brought the sick into the streets and laid them on beds and mats, and so that Peter's shadow might fall on some of them as he passed by. Crowds gathered also from the towns, bringing their sick and those tormented by evil spirits, and all of them were healed, right? So whoa, that's a sign that this can extend way beyond Jesus. And you go, well, where did it peter out? And shouldn't we, no pun intended, peter out, I didn't mean to, but also when are we going to kick it back up? And when is the pulpit going to be like, hey guys, we should be creating spaces of divine healing. Like anyone that walked into a church really should have been instantly healed from COVID if we were doing our thing right. Anyway, but that, as I was reading this, what really blew my mind, because every time I go to the Bible to interpret, it's weird, is actually the chapter before, if you can believe it, and I don't. In the chapter here where it's talking about the apostles healing and all this stuff, there's randomly thrown in this, okay? That basically there's a man named Ananias, with his wife Sapphira, sold a piece of property. And with his wife's full knowledge, kept back part of the money for himself and brought the rest and put it at the apostles' feet. This seems to imply that the apostles were buying land of some kind, and that this dude was like the middleman and skimmed some off the top without permission, okay? This gets really weird. They're just walking around healing people. Where did this come from? Then suddenly Peter's saying, how did Satan feel your hurt that you lied and kept some money for yourself? Blah, 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 blah. And the dude dies. It's like, when Ananias heard this, he fell down and died. Wait, so someone died because they held back money from the apostles? Wait, this is getting, what? They're all about healing and divine healing. I've never heard Jesus was like, you didn't pay me, and people fall over dead. This has to be allegorical. This is so random to be in the middle of this. And then what's even crazier is his wife comes. 3 hours later, his wife came, and Peter asked her, is this what you got for the land? And she's like, yeah. So she lies, and doesn't admit to keeping a piece back. And then at that moment, she fell down and died. It says, Acts 5:10. And the young men came and carried her out, and everyone was fearful. Okay, so death miracles aren't a thing. That's not a thing. And to realize, and what's really crazy is I started to go into my other interpretations, and I'll dig more later and come back with it because it gets too long. But what really blew me away is when I came to study about the apostles healing, because I can't figure out why Christians don't talk about it more, because they want Jesus to be God's special son. That's why. I don't want you to think you can do this stuff, right? Because then you could get powerful. I don't know. We could have a great world, a great life. But when I came to this book, look at this. Out of all the sections of the apostles' healing, the giant blue note in this Bible is about the dude caught in a lie who was killed for his lie. Is it not gonna focus there? So rather than talking about if you really practice what Jesus practiced, you could potentially go around and heal people who are sick or help the homeless, just help them come back mentally or whatever. No, we're going to talk about the dude caught in a lie. And it's some people have trouble with the truth, but Christians base their entire faith on God, who is truth. But they go to the book, which may not be. But anyway, so I found it so interesting that the book is actually focusing on inflaming the parts about fear and about how if you lie, you can drop dead. That's a thing God would do. None of that is in line with any of the healing Jesus ever did. So aside from talking about how amazing it is that the apostles were healing, shouldn't we also talk about the fact that they were doing some blood magic or something? And why would we count that as the true part? That starts to tell you that there's a deeper fear messaging that's being written in that isn't focused on Jesus. Jesus was here to eradicate the book, the church, the law. He was a very big disruptor for the government, never would be in line with the government. I think it was always for the oppressed, and was really saying this stuff needs to be cast out because it causes problems. The real solution here is to realize that sin isn't real. The only theory that makes sense if you're going to say I have a loving God is that I was created perfect and good. That's the only other option. And when I believe I'm bad, then if bad things happen to me, I can fall into the trap of believing I'm made bad, and it messages out there all the time, and then I act badly and believe it's my core. And that's how you see people who were once good doing bad acts later, because they fell into this trap of thinking they're truly bad. Jesus came to save us from that idea. No, you're not born bad. You're born good. You're designed good. The problem is the idea of sin. Jesus came to save us from the idea of sin. No one can die for you. That was part of what he was eliminating, because in the Old Testament, everyone was sacrificing animals for their sin all the time. And so Jews were the only ones going to heaven because they were the ones who knew to sacrifice the animals and in the right way. So the Gentiles were screwed. In the Old Testament, the Gentiles have no way into heaven, if you can believe that. That's your loving evangelical Bible God of the Old Testament. No option to go to heaven for Gentiles. And that's why Jesus came. So Gentiles had an option because Jews weren't going to let them in. Sound familiar? So Jesus said there aren't any rules on that. You don't need an animal to die. You don't need anything to die. The problem is the belief in sin. And when you believe you're truly good, incredible things emerge. And you start to really experience the true power of your Creator, which is only directly accessed through you, your own kingdom of heaven, as Jesus taught you, that is tethered to God. And when you experience that, you realize, trust me, the power and the healing and the flow of energy is completely different. It has nothing to do with religion or faith or theology. It's completely about your own connection and letting yourself follow the calling of your own heart that leads to that connection eventually. It's inevitable if you learn how to follow your own passion. You don't even have to talk God. It's just about what you're designed to be and do, and you will naturally connect with sort of your essence and why you're here. So got a little bit off there at the end. Sorry about that. With that, have a great Friday.